So now that we're back from the craziness that was the premiere of The Dark Knight Rises here in Aurora, I figure I'd give a little recap of what happened since everybody on the internet has to question everything that's out there. Me and my wife went tonight. Myself, Rain Crimson, my wife, Crimson Rain, for any questions. And we were about 30 minutes into the movie. All of a sudden, there's a chase scene. Gordon's chasing somebody, and there's a lot of shooting. And we just hear real distinct loud pops, like separate from the track of the movie, but it kind of fit the piece. So at first, everybody thought it was part of the movie, and it was just really freaking distinct. My wife kind of jumps, and I just kind of sit there and laugh. It's probably just really good sound effects or something, And that's what everybody else in the theater thought too. But suddenly we hear somebody shooting up the theater. Somebody's been shot, and I look over my shoulder to my left, and I see a guy running down the stairs, and this couple starts carrying down a younger girl, maybe in the mid-20s. She's kind of holding her face like that. She's bleeding pretty good, so people are kind of looking around. We're thinking this has to be some kind of stunt or ploy or something like that, Then I look up to my right, and I see another guy, and he's kind of holding himself like that, running down the stairs. So everybody stands up and starts freaking out because the alarm starts going off. There's a little PA system in there. On the fire alarm, it says there is an emergency. Everybody, please go to your nearest exit. So we go down to the bottom left exits, and that's where the couple that took the girl that was bleeding out. But all of a sudden, we see the doors just slam shut, and everybody gets pushed back, and they say, "Just don't go out that way. Don't go out that way." So we don't get any other word besides that. And so we hear, "Don't go in the lobby. He's in the lobby." So we're just like, "What the hell's going on?" We don't know what the hell is really going on. So I kind of glance up towards the projectionist, because the movie's still going on. It's really freaking loud. So we're standing right next to the speaker equipment. So I'm yelling at the projectionist to turn off the movie. Telling everybody up there, tell them to turn off the movie so we can get a grasp of what's going on. And I see people leaving out of the projectionist side exit on the top balcony. So I start telling people, go out that way, head out that way. Don't push, just go that way. So everybody starts going out because everybody's really freaking out. You just tell everybody wasn't prepared for this at all. You're in the midst of a movie. So we get to the top of the balcony, and as we're walking, I can see the blood trail of that guy on the ground. And that's when it kind of starts to sink in that this shit's real. So we get up there and we see two cops down below with shotguns. And there's usually always cops, especially during big premieres and on weekends, especially around the theater, just because it's kind of a rough area. So they look up and they say, "Raise your hands. We need to see your hands." So everybody picks up their hands and everything, and all of a sudden, you hear them like, "You gotta let these people go." One of the cops said. All of a sudden, you see a female cop just say, "Run, just get downstairs." So everybody starts running down the right, but they're like prairie dogging. They're looking up and they're looking around and they're kind of joking around like it's big. It's like, no, get the fuck down and run. So everybody starts putting their head down and everything, starts running. My wife's telling everybody to put their fucking head down. So we start going out, and then I get to the bottom of the stairs and I let a couple more people go. And so then I just decided to book it because I don't know if that guy's standing there or not. So I'm kind of leery at corners. So I turn and I just see this kid in the green hoodie just army crawling. There's two cops covering him, and they're aiming at Theater 9. We were in Theater 8. We get outside, and it's just horrid out there. Then there's just little things that start coming back to you. Like as we were leaving, you could just see the acoustic material coming out of the walls, all the fluff, where the bullet holes went through, and stuff like that. But then we get outside, and there's just people lying everywhere. There's this one girl in a pink hoodie, and she's just shot up pretty good, and she's just limping towards whatever they can get because they had tons of police officers there, and one fire truck, a couple ambulances, but they're still coming. So they're cordoning off the area and everything, and people are still in shock and not really understanding what's going on. Some people are thinking it's a joke, that we're in other theaters. They're starting to empty out the whole theater now, and then all of a sudden, we start going towards the fire truck, to see make sure what's going on, ask people what the hell's going on, and we just see people kind of walk around in a daze. So we see them a little bit bloodied and stuff. So we say, "Come on, we need to go this way. You're all right." I was in the course, so I know how to deal with shock and trauma. And then my wife, she was in EMT, or she did the EMT training and stuff. So you can tell these people are just lost. So we're just helping them over, and they had 4 people in front of the fire truck we were going towards, and they set that up as a temporary triage. And one guy was shot pretty good in the shoulder on this side, and he's sitting there with the shirt off and everything, and they're trying to help him. There's only two EMTs there for all these people that are coming, and all of a sudden I hear this kid, can I use your phone? Can I use your phone? And so I hand him my phone, and this kid starts calling, and all of a sudden he goes, I can't hear who he said, but he said, Josh is dead. He got shot. I just ran. I'm sorry. And so my wife sat there with him and consoled him, rubbed it on his back, and all he saw one of his friends coming out of the theater, so he got up and took off, and he kind of tossed my phone to my wife and just took off. And then as I see him run past, I see this big burly guy come running up, but he's got just his legs just peppered with shotgun rounds. It looks like you see little holes all the way down his leg, and he's just bleeding. So he's like woozy, and he's like, doctors, and I just led him over to the fire truck, and I tried to get him over, but they're dealing with other people. So I sit him down, and then his wife looked like she was in shock. And I was like, sit down. You need to sit here. Take a seat. She's like, I can't sit down because I got shot in my ass. She tried to laugh it off, but you can see she had a hole in the back of her leg, and she's just bleeding down her pant leg. And so we're just like, wondering, what the fuck do we do? Do we stay here and keep helping, or do we get the fuck out of here? Are we in their way? And all of a sudden, we just see a Crown Vic roll up, and he's like, "Is this triage?" Yelling at one of the EMTs, and he's like, "Yeah, it's just basic. This is just basic, yeah." And so it's like, I got two back here, and there's an officer just lying there, just wounded, yelling, and there's another kid, and he's just his whole back area is just bloody to all hell. So they light him down on the concrete there, and just snipped down his pants and everything, and started trying to stop the bleeding and everything. And my wife just said, they're shooting cops. We need to get the hell out of here. So, we just see army of cops coming. There's tons and tons. We have Denver PD, Aurora PD, Parker. Everybody's just showing up. So, we see them pulling out carbines and gas masks and stuff. And my wife's kind of coughing, and she's just like, "Did you smell that when we were leaving?" I was like, "Why?" She's like, "It's tear gas." And I was just like, "Was that crap coming out of the walls?" So I guess from what we were gathering as we were leaving, he ran into Theater 9 and tear gassed it, and then started going to town on people or something. So, they're wearing gas masks and everything, and so we just said, let's get the fuck out of here. So we got in our car and we started rolling out. It took us a little while, but we got out to the Dillard's parking lot, which is right above the Century 16, and that's where I started taking the video. And for all those sick assholes that are making comments that I couldn't take video while that shit was going on. I didn't think it. For one, my phone's off. We're watching a movie. I'm not just gonna bust it out and let it load while we're getting shot at. No, I wasn't running over little kids, whatever Skillax or whatever the fuck your name is. A little kid got shot point blank. I've been listening to the radio scanner all night since this happened. Little fucking kid got shot point blank. And you're gonna make comments like that. Then you got these other motherfuckers making jokes. This shit is real. I fucking still got the fucking adrenaline shakes. This shit is fucking horrid. These were people we went to go see the fucking Batman movie. It's children, teenagers are getting shot by some fucking asshole in riot gear with a shotgun. This is beyond crazy. And just to have people fucking pretend like it's just some fucking fanciful bullshit is just sick. I just hope that somebody, the people that were shot, people that I saw, are gonna fucking live. I have no idea. I just hope that they don't have to see the shit you're saying, because it's fucking sad. I'm still trying to fucking grasp what just happened. This isn't Columbine, where I was in Pueblo, 150 fucking miles away, and it's just something on TV. I'll put more up as I get information, but this is just unreal.